On July 25th, 1948, the Greenland Department's new East Coast ship, the G.C. Amdrup, left the government docks in Copenhagen for the Dove Bay area on the northeast coast of Greenland in an attempt to build a radio and weather reporting station in accordance with the ICAO recommendations. On board is a trained station personnel and a number of skilled workmen, together with all the hundreds and hundreds of various items from diesel motors and generators down to nuts and bolts, and where each item forms an essential part of this special project where everything has to be brought along. The beginning of the trip is no different from any other trip on a ship. Everybody is taking things easy and enjoys the calm and fine weather. Sledge dogs are an important factor at an Arctic station and must also be shipped up. Since the team left the West Coast colony where they were purchased, something new has been added. After 7 days of smooth sailing, we catch the first glimpse of the dreaded Greenland ice pack, which always lies off the east coast of Greenland. The ice conditions are unpredictable as the pack varies from year to year and again many times within the same year, and may even change from day to day. Here comes the Greenland Department's plane, a Norseman seaplane, which has been doing reconnaissance flights for the Amdrup. The plane lands near the ship, and here Dr. Laura Koch, internationally famed Danish Arctic explorer, who has been on board the plane, is making his way toward the Amdrup to give the captain the latest reports on the ice conditions up ahead. Air reconnaissance is a great help in navigating through the ice pack, as most valuable information as to the extent of the pack, its density, and the possible whereabouts of useful leads or open water stretches may only be obtained by plane observation. The ice pack may extend up to 100 or even 150 miles off the coastline, and in bad seasons consist of unbroken ice fields of immense dimensions. Dr. Laura Koch is now leaving the Amdrup and making his way back to the plane, and the Amdrup is proceeding on her way up north. The pack is not too heavy this year, and we have found many leads. Again and again, the ship forces her way through the billows of ice, separating the leads, and we are making fairly good headway. The following year, 1949, conditions were so bad that we were unable to reach the station by ship and had to fly emergency supplies in by plane. Captain Christensen of the Amdrup is an old experienced ice skipper, and the Amdrup is specially built for sailing in ice-filled waters. After 5 or 6 days of battering the ice pack, we finally reach the so-called land water, a strip of open water often found between the coastline and the pack ice. And here's the first glimpse of the Danmarkshavn area, and everybody on board is naturally very excited. For some of the boys, it will become their home for the next 2 years. Even the dogs sense the shore and the general excitement and starts the usual fights between themselves. The inner bay at Danmarkshavn is still blocked by last winter's ice, but that is soon broken by the Amdrup. And here is a view of the Danmarkshavn Bay as seen from the proposed station site. Unloading starts right away, and the first equipment to come ashore are the 2 jeeps which are indispensable in this operation. The jeeps are fitted out with capstan winches and must substitute for the totally lacking dock or landing facilities. Snowdrifts left over from the winter causes some inconveniences, but as only light equipment is brought up for this first-time landing, the vehicles are soon well ashore on solid ground. A bulky part of the cargo is the station supply of fuel oil and kerosene, which are shipped up in steel drums. The jeeps are also put to good use here in holding up the drums. As a necessary safety measure, 2 years' supply of fuel is landed and stored in case the ice conditions should prove too difficult for a ship to force next year. This foresight actually saved the station the following year when the ship failed to reach the station. Here is one of the heavier units. It is one of the diesel motor sets weighing almost 2 tons. The 2 jeeps are lined up and used as hauling winches, and they were doing a very fine job. Everybody takes part in unloading the cargo and carrying boards and timber ashore. As daylight prevails all through the 24 hours of the day at this time of the season, work goes on continuously. The men know what is at stake. The Amdrup can only remain at Danmarkshavn for 14 days, and sufficient quarters must be built by that time to house the station personnel and the workmen when the Amdrup has to leave for other assignments. The houses are constructed as permanent buildings on solid foundations, and here are the cement mixing and pouring of the concrete for one of the buildings. It is pretty hard work. An old Danish tradition calls for a roofing supper when the structure of a house has been erected. This is also observed at Danmarkshavn, and the station chief gives a little speech and perhaps a pep talk, and the drink is on the house. Two native Greenlanders are part of the station personnel and will attend to the dogs, and through hunting provide fresh provision and act as general helpers. Here is the erection of the lower part of one of the station's 3 150-feet radio towers. The towers are of carefully selected, well-prepared wood. All towers have been assembled and checked before shipment to Greenland. Our experience shows that wood stand up very well in the dry Arctic climate, and rot is very seldom found. This may look a little dangerous, but as the man has been securely fastened, it is not as dangerous as it looks. For the normal inspection tours to the top of the towers, a permanent ladder is fastened to one of the sides. Here is a view of one of the completed 150 feet towers. Tightening of the guy wires must be done very carefully in order to give each of the three sets the exact tension and pull to ensure the tower in an upright position and enable the tower to withstand the strongest wind forces. Here comes the chartered Norwegian boat, the Vejrstationen, to relieve the Amdrup of her standby duty at Danmarkshavn. As the Amdrup must leave for her other assignments, the station personnel and the workmen must now take up residence ashore, where they have succeeded in completing ample quarters for all. The construction work will continue with unabated effort until the 5th of September, which is the deadline set for the departure of the Vejrstationen. After this date, freezing temperature sets in, and the chances of getting out through the pack ice are daily reduced. The dogs have also been transferred to permanent quarters ashore and are enjoying the freedom of movement after the many days of cramped quarters on board the ship. Here is a farewell picture of the Amdrup as she disappears in the horizon on her way from Danmarkshavn to Denmark. While construction work is progressing ashore, the Vejrstationen is standing by, ready to take the majority of the workmen home on the preset date, or at a moment's notice if the ice conditions should change for the worse. The two native Greenlanders are kept busy procuring a depot of fresh dog food for the station's dog team. Here they are preparing for a hunt. The Vejrstationen is also preparing for walrus hunting and is here taking ice on board from an iceberg. A rather risky way of doing it, as an iceberg may turn over at any time. The natives are here paddling the dogs and sledge out to the edge of the solid ice where seal and walrus may be found. The Vejrstationen is also heading for the hunting grounds. The natives have made the first kill, and here they are busy cutting up a newly killed walrus on the ice. From the Vejrstationen, we see a sleeping walrus. Now she was hit, and this shot finished her off. A walrus is a huge animal weighing from a ton to a ton and a half. The walrus is being hauled on board the Vejrstationen by help of one of the ship's winches which makes this task look very easy and simple. The natives are experts in cutting up the carcass, and here they are cutting through the heavy layer of blubber. The meat itself is very good and tasty and may be used for human consumption, but the main portion goes into a dipper for the dogs to keep them well fed during the coming winter. The meat is cut in long strips and loaded into the trailer for transportation to the station. In order to preserve the meat, it is deposited in a big snowdrift left over from last winter, and this natural cooler will keep the meat frozen all year round. The Vejrstationen has now left Danmarkshavn with most of the workmen, leaving only a few besides the station's personnel to complete the work. Here is the warehouse and the station cook carrying supplies over to the mess building. Here is a view from the inside of one of the finished living quarter houses. The cook is busy in his kitchen. A good cook must also be a good baker in this part of the world. Off-duty time is passed playing cards until the station chief is calling everybody in for chow. It is now up to the few remaining men left at the station to complete all buildings. We are now at the end of September and snow has already set in. Up till now, radio communication with the outside world has been maintained by small portable sets. The construction of the main radio station and powerhouse still remains, as warehouses and living quarters had to be given strict priority. Bricklaying and mason work on the chimneys must now be done inside special tents which have been put up around the chimneys in order to protect the bricklaying and mason work from the frost. Here, a diesel generating set is being hauled up to the new powerhouse. And here is the diesel motor being hoisted into the building. The counterpoise is put up and the supporting wires are tightened. The counterpoise is placed 15 feet above the ground on steel supports and forms a complete net under the low-frequency antennas. This is necessary here in Arctic Greenland, where the ground is non-conducting. The first snowstorm of the year causes some damage to the buildings, but repair work is started right away. Snow gets in everywhere, whenever a tiny opening can be found. Look at this jeep, for instance, completely filled with snow. Damage to roofing paper is here being repaired. Fresh water for the station is supplied from a nearby lake, wherefrom the water is brought in daily. By now, all buildings are finished, even a garage, and the station has commenced regular service according to schedules. A radio sound balloon is here being filled, and here is the actual balloon ascent. The balloon is being followed through the theodolite. And here is the radio sound receiving set, where all the signals from the transmitter attached to the balloon are being carefully checked. Barometer readings and thermometer readings are taken, and calculations and all the exact detail work which goes into a complete weather report are being worked out before the report is ready to be sent off. Here is a radio technician inspecting one of the station's 3 transmitters. And here is one of the operators setting the dials on the transmitter for the correct frequency. And here the complete weather report is being handed to the operator on watch for transmission at the exact scheduled time. And with a group of muskusaks in the foreground, we present the complete Danmarkshavn station as it appeared only 4 months after the very first landing.